Hey everybody, KC here. So one more time on the whole branding discussion we've had over the last couple of FaceTimes. So Friday, I talked about how CBS All Access is transitioning to Paramount Plus, and I basically questioned whether or not CBS All Access maybe was actually a better brand name with more equity than Paramount Plus. Although I did acknowledge that it's possible that the folks at Paramount, they own CBS, maybe they've looked at the future and said, you know something, 10 years from now, CBS may be an obsolete brand. We need to move this over now and start to generate some more brand equity for the Paramount name. Possibility. Then yesterday, I followed up on that, talking a little bit about how my daughter, who was really looking forward to the Oprah interview with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry that was going to be on CBS on Sunday night, actually didn't know what channel CBS was on. The thing is, she watches any network TV show she watches on Hulu. She doesn't watch it on the original channel, so she has the idea of NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox. Those things actually mean very little to her in terms of numbers. The CBS brand is almost irrelevant to her, adding to my suspicion that maybe CBS does not have the brand equity that I thought. Well, then it was very interesting. So Sunday night, Oprah does the interview with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The thing does amazing numbers, right? More than 17 million people watch this thing, which, you know, it's one of the biggest shows, that non-sporting events in terms of ratings, that CBS has had in a long time. Okay, so maybe the lesson is a brand is only as valuable as its ability to deliver stuff that the customer wants. Okay, and I'll totally buy that. It was interesting that at the end of the interview, one of the things that Oprah said is, listen, there's stuff that didn't make the interview. So if you want to watch CBS Morning News tomorrow morning with Gayle King, I'll be there and I'm going to show you some clips that you didn't see tonight. So I'm going to guess, I haven't seen the numbers yet, but I'm guessing the CBS Morning News ratings for Monday morning were probably, a lot higher than usual, which they can use because they're always behind the Today Show and Fox and Friends and Good Morning America. Again, maybe this is actually worth the $7 million that CBS paid Oprah to have this interview on its air. It's a funny thing, branding, right? One of my first thoughts was, what also makes sense is Oprah's doing this thing for CBS, which means it's going to be available on Paramount Plus, which is going to allow them another way to kind of promote this relatively new, at least in terms of name, streaming service. Good way to do that. Except here was the problem. You could go to Paramount Plus and you could watch it live, but there was no recording of it. You couldn't watch it after the fact on Paramount Plus. Why? Because Oprah, she may have sold this thing for $7 million, but she kept the streaming rights for herself, and she's got to deal with Apple TV, and that apparently precluded Paramount Plus having the interview on its site. So listen, maybe CBS has strengthened its brand with this interview, and maybe can continue to do that if it comes up with programming that people really want to see. But the real lesson is, if there's one person who understands the power of her brand, it's Oprah Winfrey. Not only was she amazing in terms of that interview, but she understood how important it was to make that interview part of her brand at the end of the day, that her brand is more important than CBS's. I think that's the lesson. And it's something we all have to think about. At what point is a brand important? And at what point do we start to diminish our brand when other entities start to eat away at it and maybe nibble it away at it, so in a way that it's no longer going to be as powerful? Worth thinking about. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this morning. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.